He laughed when the sirens played back on the tiny speaker, as if the sound belonged to him. Not nervous laughter, the kind people use when they think they're untouchable. He didn't look at the MT sitting 2 tables over. He looked at the cameras, then at the judge, like this room was just another audience that would break when he told it to. All rise. Footsteps. A throat cleared. The judge entered without theatrics, the kind of presence that makes noise irrelevant. She sat, folded her hands, and let the silence get heavy enough to matter. Be seated. The defendant planted himself at the podium like it owed him money. Sharp jacket. Designer watch. The swagger of someone who never had to use the front door in his life. Name for the record. The judge said. Kabir Malhotra, he replied, chin up. But I shouldn't even be here. The judge turned, just slightly, to the plaintiff. And you? Rima Shah, she said. Paramedic. She didn't say ambulance. She didn't say trauma unit. Her hand spoke those words, already small cuts along her knuckles. That careful way first responders hold the world after it's tried to come apart. The judge nodded. Ms. Shah alleges Mr. Malhotra interfered with an active emergency response, moved safety cones, argued with staff, and obstructed a stretcher at a nightclub loading zone. Further allegations include threats, a later voicemail, and use of his family connections to pressure her agency. Mr. Malhotra denies. Kabir's laugh flicked around the room. Connections? I asked a question. She overreacted. The judge didn't blink. Try again. Without the performance. I was helping, he said. Crowd control. That area's chaos on weekends. She was rude. She shoved me. Rima kept her eyes anchored to a spot on the table. He came into the lane after we blocked it, she said quietly. Kicked a cone, parked his SUV halfway across the hash marks. When we wheeled the stretcher, he stepped in front of me and said I regret touching his car. I didn't touch his car. Kabir opened his hands. Everybody says that. I was moving my vehicle. She made a scene. The judge lifted a finger, small movement, big effect. Mr. Malhotra, listen very carefully. The only person making a scene right now is your memory. We're going to add some light. She tapped the bench. The bailiff delivered a thin charcoal binder. The judge set her palm on it like you settle a skittish animal. This is the city's traffic camera footage and club security video. She said, plus dispatch logs. We'll play it in a moment. But first, Mr. Malhotra, do you have any authorization to direct emergency scenes? He smirked. I have the sense to not let people block traffic. That wasn't the question, the judge said. Are you a first responder? No. A cop? No. A volunteer with any agency? He hesitated too long. No. Then you don't get to direct anything, the judge said. Ms. Shah, how did this escalate? Rima's thumb pressed the side of a pen until it clicked. We were loading an unconscious patient. He stepped into my path with his phone out, recording my face. I asked him to step back. He said, do you know who my uncle is? I told him emergency lanes aren't for filming. He said, I can shut this street down for an hour if I feel like it. You move around me. Kabir's jaw clenched. I didn't say that. We'll find out, the judge said. She gestured to the screen. Play it. The video hummed to life. A nightclub curb. Strobe lights. Cones forming a corridor. An SUV noses in, bumper crossing the paint. 2 paramedics maneuver a stretcher. A man, crisp jacket, phone up steps into the corridor, angling for the camera like he's been practicing his whole life. He kicks a cone aside. The SUV rolls another foot. On the speaker, his voice is clear. Bro, don't touch my car. Do you know who my uncle is? Rima's voice, steady even under noise. Sir, please step back. We're moving a patient. He laughs. You can go around. I'm not the problem. The judge raises her hand, and the clerk pauses the frame. The image freezes with Kabir's shoe tipped into the safety-painted hash marks. The room absorbs it. Kabir aims for indignation, but it doesn't land. That's terrible audio. Could be anyone. Right, the judge said, not amused, not angry. Coincidentally wearing your clothes and driving your license plate? He said nothing. Continue. The judge said. The clip jumps. Same night, different angle from the club's vestibule. Rima's partner guides the stretcher. Kabir slides one step left, too close. Rima shifts to protect the side rail with her hip, the practice move of someone who's stood between the world and harm before. Kabir's phone gets inches from her face. Bro, it's a public street, he says to the camera. You can't tell me, then louder, my uncle runs this district. I'll have your station written up. The judge lifts her hand. Pause. The court sits inside that still frame Rima mid-step, Kabir's phone reflective with neon. The city looking like it always does when it's about to do something messy. Mr. Malhotra, the judge said. Do you deny saying those words? I deny meaning them, he said. That's not how this works. He leaned forward, shoulders squared. You people love to make this dramatic. I said some things because she was in my face. She was in between you and a patient, the judge said, and put a second binder on the rail. Red. Kabir registered the color like his nervous system did it for him. What's that? He asked. Dispatch log, the judge said. And a voicemail you left 2 hours later. Before I hit play, I'm giving you a chance to say anything you care to say without the tape saying it for you. Clean sentences. Kabir's mouth twisted. I didn't threaten anyone. The judge nodded, expression empty of relief or surprise. Then the recording will clear that up. Rima didn't look at him. She looked at her hands finally, like they might be allowed to stop bracing for impact. The bailiff placed a small speaker on the rail. The judge didn't press play. Not yet. She studied Kabir the way mechanics study an engine right before they pull the cover off, listening for the clink only a loose bolt makes. Mr. Malhotra, she said softly. Why are you really so loud? People who are certain don't have to be. He lifted his chin. The mask tried to climb back onto his face. I don't like being disrespected. That's one answer, the judge said. Here's another. People who are used to doors opening don't like feeling the handle stick. He didn't answer. The room didn't need him to. Miss Shaw, the judge said gentler. When you got home that night, did he call you? She shook her head. I don't have my personal number on file. Then how did he reach you? Rima's eyes dropped. He left a message on the station voicemail and sent a complaint to our admin. The complaint copy used phrases from the message. The judge nodded. Bailiff, the audio. The speaker clicked. Kabir's voice slid into the room like oil. Listen up. This is about your paramedic, Rima. She was out of line tonight. If I don't get a call from a supervisor by morning, I'm making sure this becomes a problem. I'll have your license reviewed. Don't test me. The recording stopped. The shape of the silence after it was different. KBIR launched the only lifeline he had left. Out of context. I was upset. Upset isn't a threat, the judge said. It's a feeling. Threats come with verbs. He opened his hands. It's not like I called dispatch pretending to be anyone. The judge's eyes didn't flicker, but the red binder seemed to find the light all by itself. Want to try that sentence again? The judge asked. Kabir's gaze hit the binder and stopped like it had run into glass. He didn't respond. We'll take this one layer at a time, the judge said, lifting the red file. And for your sake, I hope your next words are the kind you can live with after the tape stops talking. She turned to the clerk. Bring in the witness. The side door opened. A man in a black polo with a white patch stepped in, security supervisor from the club, by his badge. He didn't look at Kabir. He looked at the judge the way people do when they've finally decided not to be afraid of anybody else's last name. The judge didn't ask anything yet. She let the air tighten and settle around what already existed on the record. Video, voicemail, the color red on a file. And the quiet way Rima's hands had finally stopped shaking under the table. Sir, the judge said, when the quiet could hold more. State your name. He did. The room drew closer. And tell me, the judge said. What did you see? The supervisor glanced once at Kabir, then back at the bench. Everything, he said. And it's all on our cameras. Plus one thing he forgot. Kabir made the mistake of smiling. What's that? The supervisor's eyes didn't hold hate, just memory. He called dispatch, said he was liaison to the council chair and needed the unit moved for crowd control. He used those words exactly. The judge let the words lay down where they landed. The room listened to the old scaffolding creak. Play the dispatch, the judge said, and didn't take her eyes off Kabir while the clerk queued it up. **, the dispatch line clicked, and his voice walked into the room again. Communications, what's your emergency? A calm operator said. Kabir's reply was smooth, practiced. Not an emergency. City liaison here, need the unit at Ash and 9th to clear the lane. VIP egress crowd control issue. Paper shuffled near the mic on their end. Yeah, tell them, Malhotra said to reposition copy. They're blocking traffic. The operator didn't bite. Sir, your name and title for verification? You can just note liaison to the council chair, he said. I'm on site. Unit number? The operator asked. He hesitated a beat too long. They'll know. We don't, she said. Is the patient in immediate danger? Patient's fine, he said. It's the scene. Move the rig. Click. End of call. A second log pinged. Same voice, more edge. Okay, listen, if you don't sort this, I'll escalate to the chair's office and the licensing board. Don't make me do that. The recording stopped. The silence that followed wasn't dramatic. It was a weight settling into its shape. The judge didn't look at the screen. She looked at Kabir. Is that your voice? He shrugged, somewhere between casual and cornered. I don't remember making that call. Convenient, the judge said. Dispatcher? A woman in navy blazer stood from the second row, lanyard badge clipped to her collar. She took the stand, was sworn. Her poise was the kind you build in rooms where panic calls every 5 minutes. Name, the judge said. Tanya Brooks, she answered. Communications supervisor, City EM says. Ms. Brooks, the judge said, walk us through what we just heard. 2 calls to our non-emergency admin line, Tanya said. Same number both times. Caller identified himself as liaison to the council chair and requested that we clear an active scene. He could not provide a unit number. He implied authority he did not have. We flagged it and notified the incident commander. Callback number? The judge asked. Ends in 2219, Tanya said. Logs show it matches the voicemail left at the station later that night. Rima didn't move. Her eyes fixed on that number like it was a landmine she knew by heart. The judge turned to Kabir. 2219, she repeated. Yours? Kabir's jaw ticked. It's my work phone. And you used your work phone to impersonate a city liaison and attempt to direct an EMS scene, the judge said, tone flat. Say the part that matters. He leaned on bravado like a crutch. I was trying to help. Help is standing back when professionals say stand back, the judge said. Impersonation is something else. Kabir flicked his gaze to the gallery like he might find an ally sitting there. He didn't. We'll hear from the ground, the judge said. Bring in the partner. A man in charcoal scrubs, sleeves pushed to the elbow, stepped in. He carried that tired steadiness medics get when your job is catching people as they fall. He took the stand, was sworn. Name, the judge said. Dylan Cho, he replied. Paramedic, Mr. Cho, the judge said. Describe the scene. Friday night, Dylan said. Packed. Patient had a syncopal episode, fainted, possibly hypoglycemic, possibly intoxicated. We loaded quickly. We cordoned a lane with cones in the rig. Mr. Malhotra's SUV nosed into the hash. He kicked a cone. He filmed my partner's face. We asked him to step back repeatedly. He told us to go around and said we'd regret touching his car. When we moved the stretcher, he stepped into Rima's path. She shielded the rail with her hip. He put his phone inches from her nose. Any contact? The judge asked. No, Dylan said. We kept the rail between him and us. Patient's pulse was thready. This kind of delay matters. Rima kept her face still, but the memory shook the pen a fraction in her fingers. What happened after transport? The judge asked. Admin said there was a complaint, Dylan said. We heard the voicemail. We filed the report with a video link from security. The judge nodded, then lifted the red binder again, tapped it with a fingernail. Ms. Brooks, what do your policies say about who can direct your units? Only the incident commander, Emma's lead, fire, or PD on scene, Tanya said. Members of the public cannot instruct movement. Even PD requests get routed through the IC. Kabir tried one more angle. I wasn't a random member of the public. I know people. That doesn't come with lights and sirens, the judge said, and set the red binder down beside the charcoal one. 2 colors. 1 story. Let's talk about your complaint to admin, the judge said. Clerk? A printed email slid to the rail. The judge read aloud, plain, unembellished. Your paramedic Rima was rude and obstructive. If I don't get a response, I will make sure your license is reviewed. I am the liaison to the council chair. She looked up. Signature block, Kabir Malhotra. Work email. Same 2219 number. Kabir forced a laugh. I was venting. That's not venting, the judge said. That's attempting to retaliate. Ms. Shah, any other messages? Rima hesitated. Then she reached into a thin folder and lifted a folded slip, edges worn from being handled. I printed the transcribed voicemail, she said. So I didn't have to play it again? The judge accepted it and scanned. Don't test me, she read softly. Licensing board. Council chair. She set the paper beside the email. Pattern. The bailiff stepped forward with a small drive. Club owners sent their logs, he said. Copy of an email Mr. Malhotra sent that night. The judge plugged it into the court laptop. Text popped up on the screen. The subject line was casual. The content was not, move your cones faster next time, the judge read. My table spends money. Fire inspector won't like how you block your exit. Kabir rolled his shoulders. It's a nightclub. We talk tough. You talk like doors open when you shout, the judge said. We're going to test that hypothesis. She glanced at the bailiff. Bring in the next witness. A woman in a tailored suit stepped in, badge on a lanyard, face composed. She took the stand, was sworn. State your name, the judge said. Farah Qureshi, she said. Chief of Staff to the City Council Chair. Rima's eyes stayed steady. Kabir's didn't, Ms. Qureshi, the judge said. Do you employ a liaison named Kabir Malhotra? No, Farah said. We don't have a position by that title. We have staff liaisons to committees. Mr. Malhotra does not work for our office. He has never worked for our office. Do you know him? The judge asked. I know he's appeared at public events, as many residents do, Farah said. He has emailed staff. That's the extent. Did your office authorize any call to MS to reposition a unit that night? The judge asked. No, Farah said. We do not direct emergency scenes. Does your office review licenses? The judge asked. Farah's mouth tilted, almost a grimace. We refer complaints to agencies. We don't yank credentials over nightlife inconveniences. The judge nodded. Thank you. You may step down. Farah left the stand, not looking at Kabir as she passed him. The judge folded her hands. Mr. Malhotra, we can add adjectives to this all day. Let's not. Clean sentences? He looked at the red binder, at Rima's slip of paper, at Farah's card now sitting on the edge of the rail like a period at the end of a sentence. His throat worked. I shouldn't have called dispatch, he said, voice flatter now. I shouldn't have used the chair's name. Good sir, the judge said. And the lane? I shouldn't have parked there, he said. I shouldn't have kicked the cone. I shouldn't have put my phone in her face. Better, the judge said. Why did you? His mouth opened, searching for a script. None came. Because I don't like feeling pushed, he said, the word landing heavier than he meant. I paid for the table. They wave people through for me. She didn't. I didn't like that. You mistook privilege for permission, the judge said. Different P word. Kabir looked at Rima, then quickly away. I didn't want to be made small, he muttered. And so you made someone else small, the judge said. Classic fix that fixes nothing. Dylan shifted on the stand, a hand flexing and relaxing at his side. 3 minutes, he said. That's what we lost. It doesn't sound like much. It can be forever. The judge nodded once, her face softening without losing its edge. Mr. Malhotra, if all I had were the cones in the SUV, we're talking nuisance. Add the phone in a medic's face, the fake authority, the threats to an agency's license. We're talking interference. Kabir swallowed. Is this going to cross the street? The judge finished. It can. Today or at 90 days. I'm authorized to refer impersonation of a public role and obstruction. I haven't decided. How you behave in the next 20 minutes will help me decide. His gaze flicked to the door like it might have a different decision behind it. Asterisk. You're still looking for an exit, the judge said. There isn't one. There's only the next right thing. She tapped the red binder. We're not done. There's one more call at 1:04 a.m. to fire dispatch. Same number. A request to send someone to clear the lane for VIP vehicles. The operator refused. You hung up? Kabir shut his eyes. The mask couldn't help him close them. Before I play it, the judge said, I'm going to ask Ms. Shaw one thing. Rima looked up. When you heard his message on the station voicemail, what did you do? The judge asked. Rima's voice didn't shake this time. I saved it, and I went to work. The judge let the answer stand like a small stone placed exactly where it belonged. Then she nodded to the clerk. Play the 104. She said. The speaker clicked, ready to pull one more thread. The bailiff stepped closer, not because anyone was about to bolt. Because gravity had shifted, and his job was to honor it. After this, the judge added, almost gentle, eyes on Kabir. We talk consequences. And you will, for once, listen more than you speak. Asterisk, the line clicks, and his voice arrives like he never left. Fire dispatch, a baritone says. What's the address of your emergency? Kabir doesn't hesitate. No emergency. This is Malhotra, liaison to the council chair. I need that unit at Ashen Ninth to clear the lane for VIP egress. They're blocking traffic. Sir, we don't clear medical scenes for VIP egress. The dispatcher replies, calm, iron flat. Is anyone in danger? I'm telling you how this needs to go, Kabir says, edge sharpening. Send someone to move the rig. Negative, the dispatcher says. Only the incident commander directs units. Kabir exhales into the mic, a practice sigh. Okay, then I'll escalate to the chair's office and licensing. Don't make me do that. The click that ends the call is small and final, like a door shutting on a bad habit. The judge doesn't look at the speaker. She looks at Kabir. Same number? She asks, already knowing. He stares at the red binder. It's my work line, and your work involves impersonating roles you don't have. The judge says, no heat. Just wait. He opens his hands, empty palms like a magic trick with nothing to reveal. I was frustrated. Frustration is a feeling, the judge says. Impersonation is an act. She gestures and the bailiff brings a slim blue folder. It lands without drama, but the air tightens anyway. Patient care report, the judge says. Timestamps. Door out to door in, Mr. Cho. Dylan leans toward the mic. On scene 0 o'clock. Patient assessed 0 hours 1 minute and 12 seconds. Loading at 0 hours 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Stalled at 0 hours 2 minutes and 21 seconds. Movement resumed at 0 hours 5 minutes and 34 seconds. Departed 0 hours 6 minutes and 2 seconds. 3 minutes 13 seconds. The judge says, quiet. Ms. Shaw, you filed an addendum? Rima nods. We noted interference by a member of the public. Her voice stays even. We don't write names. We write facts. Kabir's jaw flexes. She's making it sound like someone died. Dylan's gaze cuts over, not unkind, not soft. That's how you talk when you've never watched 3 minutes stretch forever. The judge taps the blue folder. We're not writing morality plays. We're drawing a map. Your car, your foot in the lane, your calls, your voicemail. The gap between seconds that weren't yours to take. The side door opens at the judge's nod. A woman in a black blazer with a gold manager pin takes the stand, posture straight as a measuring stick. Sworn in, she adjusts the mic with, The kind of competence that hurts no one and fixes everything she can reach. Name, the judge says. Amar Patel, she answers. General Manager, Club 9. Miss Patel, the judge says. Describe your interaction with Mr. Malhotra that night. Amara folds her hands. He's irregular, she says. We comp nothing. He pays. He tipped large. He also texts our valet lead when he's out front, so we'll pull his car faster. Fine when the curb is open. Not fine when it's an active medical lane. He tried to cut through. Security sent him back. He argued. He called dispatch. After, he emailed me saying our cones disrespect revenue and the fire inspector won't like our exit block. We don't block exits. We follow the plan we filed after inspection. Do you have that plan? The judge asks. Amara lifts a laminated sheet from her bag, an evacuation map with a thick neon stripe marking the medical corridor. Signed by a fire captain. The hash marks he parked over are literally printed on our plan. He knows. He's seen this in our office. Kabir tries a smirk. I see a lot of lamination when I'm out. Miss Patel, the judge says, did you employ Mr. Malhotra, consult him, or authorize him to contact public agencies on your behalf? No, Amara says. We have our own compliance counsel. I told him that once. He said, it's me, you're fine. Thank you, the judge says. You may step down. Amara glances at Rima as she leaves. Not sympathy. Solidarity. The judge turns back and the room follows. Mr. Malhotra, your story keeps changing costumes. Useful patron. Concerned citizen. Liaison. Which one fits when the tape rolls? He stays silent long enough for the quiet to say something. We'll hear one more person, the judge says. Not a manager, not a dispatcher. Someone who is standing next to the man on your stretcher. A woman in a denim jacket and club wristband approaches the stand, eyes rimmed red from more than last night's smoke. Sworn in, she presses her hands together to stop the tremor. Name. Jade Morales, she says. I went out with the guy who fainted. We've been friends since middle school. Ms. Morales, the judge says, what did you see? I saw my friend turn gray and start to go, Jade says. We waved and yelled. The medics came fast. They moved like they knew a clock I didn't. Then this man, she nods toward Kabir, stepped in the lane. I remember because he held his phone like a mirror. He kept saying, go around, like this was a shopping cart. The girl medic, sorry Miss Shashi, told him, please step back. She had her shoulder like this. Jade mimes the guarding hip, and I thought, she's protecting him from more than traffic. It felt like forever. I cried. I told him, please move. He didn't even look at me. Kabir stares past Jade like the bench is a screen showing a different night where he won this argument by existing. Thank you, the judge says. You can step down. Jade meets Rima's eyes, mouths thank you, and leaves. Rima nods once. Then she looks at Kabir's knuckles whitening on the podium. Then she looks away like someone who has triaged what deserves her attention, and it isn't him. The judge lays the charcoal, red, and blue folders in a line. We're not stacking colors to be pretty, she says. We're stacking them because your choices come in layers. Street, voice, patient. Asterisk Kabir clears his throat. Are you going to refer this? I'm going to finish listening, the judge says. Then I'm going to talk. Then you're going to listen without interrupting one time. He clamps his jaw shut. Good plan. The bailiff sets a small clear bag on the rail, a bent orange cone collar, scuffed white paint flaking along the seam. Evidence? The judge asks. Club found it under a parked car the next morning, the bailiff says. Matches the missing collar from their corridor setup. I kicked one, Kabir blurts, then hears himself and looks like he wants to catch the words midder and stuff them back in. I mean, it was in the way. You took a safety device and turned it into trash, the judge says. Small thing. Sure, but small things stack. She points at the red binder. You used a government office's name like a battering ram. You used another's patience like a doormat. You used the shape of your last name like access, pattern. He stares at the floor. I get it. I don't think you do, the judge says softly. You're still thinking about how this makes you look? How it might affect your job, your table at Club 9, your next night? You haven't asked one thing about the person on that stretcher. He opens his mouth, closes it. The room hears nothing, and it says enough. A new witness is sworn in before the silence rots. Navy shirt, brass pin, not showing municipal competence in human form. Name, the judge says. Captain Raul Ibarra, he answers. Fire prevention. Captain, the judge says. You sign off on Club 9's plan? Yes, he says. We inspect quarterly. The medical lane is non-negotiable. Were you notified of any VIP egress policy that supersedes a medical lane? He doesn't laugh. He doesn't have to. No such thing exists. Have you had contact with Mr. Malhotra? The judge asks. The captain glances at Kabir, then back. 2 weeks ago, outside another venue. He complained about cones. I told him lanes save lives. He said, and I'm quoting, "You make a good point, Captain. But also, I know people." I told him good. Then he should know this. We'll cite anyone who interferes, no matter who they know. Kabir looks like someone finally spoke to him in a language, without flattery, and he's realizing how little of it he understands. Asterisk, thank you, Captain, the judge says. You may step down. Ibarra nods to Rima on his way out. She tips her chin a millimeter, the respect of people who show up in the dark, so others can go home. The judge turns back and does nothing for a full beat. No pages, no sigh. She makes space around what's about to be said. Mr. Malhotra, she says, I want you to answer plainly. Not for me. For the record you're going to walk around with when you leave this room? He nods, stiff. Why did you step into that lane? The judge asks. He doesn't reach for the chair's office now. He doesn't reach for Amara or Farah or anyone else's name. He reaches for nothing and it leaves his hands empty because I didn't want to be told no, he says. Not by a person who doesn't know me. Not in front of a line. What did you think would happen? She asks. He swallows. That they would go around me. And what happened? She asks. I slowed them down, he says. It lands like a stone. I called people I shouldn't have. I said things I shouldn't have. I pretended to be something I'm not. Better, the judge says. Now the sentence you've avoided since we pressed play on the first clip. He meets Rima's eyes for the first time and doesn't look away like the look is a fire. It's a mirror. I threatened you, he says. On the line, in the lane, in your voicemail. I used my phone like a weapon and a last name like a key. Rima's face doesn't soften. It steadies. Don't do it again, she says. He shakes his head. I won't, he says. And for once there's no prop under the word to hold it up. The judge stacks the folders, squares the edges. We're moving to consequences, she says, but first distance. Then dollars. Then whether the red binder walks. He flinches at that last word like the room dropped a degree. We'll take 5 minutes, the judge says, standing. In recess, the clerk will collect a written acknowledgement of the calls, the lane, the voicemail. Mr. Malhotra will sign a non-contact directive, no calls, emails, or third-party messages to Miss Shaw or her station. Miss Patel will file an incident report for the damaged cone collar and corridor equipment. Captain Ibarra will note this interference in his records. Asterisk, she pauses, then looks back at Kabir. Use the 5 minutes to write a clean, boring apology to the file. 3 lines. What you did, what you owe, what you will not do again. No speeches. Verbs. He nods, the kind of nod people make when the next right thing is finally the only thing left. Court in brief recess, the bailiff calls. As people stand, Kabir doesn't bolt for the door. He reaches for a pen. Rima doesn't watch. She walks to the clerk for the non-contact form like she's done with so many forms, no drama, just duty. Amara texts her valet lad. Dylan rubs the bridge of his nose and checks the call sheet to see if they're back on tonight. Captain Ibarra scribbles the incident number on a card and tucks it into his pocket. The judge rests her hand on the red binder. She doesn't move it. Not yet, asterisk, all rise, then be seated. When the judge came back, the room snapped into focus like a lens being turned. Clerk, she said. Status. The clerk handed up a slim stack. Written acknowledgement signed, she said. Defendant admits to entering the lane, kicking a cone, filming Ms. Shaw at close range, calling dispatch as liaison, and leaving the station voicemail. Non-contact directive signed. No calls, emails, or third-party messages to Ms. Shaw or her station. Incident report from Club 9 received. The judge flipped the first page, scanned, and nodded once. Good. We separate access from habit. Her eyes landed on Kabir. Mr. Malhotra read the sentence you wrote that matters. He cleared his throat. I impersonated authority and interfered with emergency care, he said, voice smaller. I threatened a medic's job. I won't contact her or her station again. Clean enough, the judge said. Now we build the perimeter. She turned to the clerk. Non-contact order, 180 days minimum. No phone, email, DM, tag, or proxy. No appearance at Ms. Shaw's station. No complaints to her chain of command. Any issue goes to the court clerk. Violations trigger an immediate hearing and a referral. Entered, the clerk said, pen already moving. The judge shifted to Kabir again. You will also issue written retractions to the city council chair's office, EMS communications, and fire dispatch. One sentence each. I am not a liaison. I misrepresented my role on date. The clerk will transmit them. You don't get to do cleanup through back channels. He nodded, jaw tight. Okay, and you will withdraw your complaint, the judge said, lifting the admin email. Officially, today. Done, he said, and knowing earlier, there was no brag hiding under it. The bailiff approached with a clear bag. Inside, the bent orange collar, tagged. The judge held it up briefly. Corridor equipment, she said. Miss Patel cost. Amara stood from the gallery. $29 for the collar. $12 for reflective tape. I can submit the invoice. Submit, the judge said. Defendant reimburses. The clerk made a note. $41. The judge set the collar down. Now money. We keep it real. No theatrics. No windfalls. Miss Shaw, are you claiming lost wages? Rima shook her head. No, just the filing fee. Filing fee is taxed to the defendant, the judge said. $75. She gathered a few more pages into order. We'll add the cost of transcribing dispatch for the record $30. Total so far, $146 to be paid to the club, $105 to Miss Shaw. Kabir blinked. That's it? No, the judge said calmly. That's the money. Consequences don't end at dollars. The bailiff stepped forward with a gray envelope, seal unbroken. Delivered during recess, he said. From who? The judge asked. City attorney's office, he said. The judge didn't tear it open like it was a prize. She slid a finger under the flap and read fast, eyes moving, expression flat. Then she set it where Kabir could see the letterhead without reading the body. This isn't a referral, she said. It's a notice. We are aware of the incident and the impersonation claims. If further interference occurs, our office will review for potential charges under the Emergency Operations Statute. Translation, you were seen. The next one won't stay in this room. Kabir swallowed. Understood. Say it out loud, the judge said. I understand the city attorney is watching, he said. If I do this again, I'll face charges. Good, the judge said. Clean sentence. She turned to Rima. Anything else for the record before we finalize? Rima shook her head once. Just that we're not special because we hold a radio, she said evenly. We're special because we show up. Let us do it. The judge inclined her head, acknowledgement without applause. Then she glanced toward the side door. We have one more voice, she said. If he's able. The door opened. A man in a plain sweatshirt stepped in, pale but upright, a hospital bracelet still on his wrist. Jade hovered behind him like a shadow with hands. He took the stand, was sworn. Breath studying as he sat. Name, the judge said. Luis Ramos, he answered. Mr. Ramos, the judge said. Gentle, you were the patient. He nodded. Embarrassing, he said softly. I passed out. Do you wish to say anything? She asked. Luis looked at Kabir, not a glare. A look that had weight. I woke up in the rig, he said. I heard them talking soft and fast. I felt not right. I didn't know what was happening outside. He swallowed. But I watched the video after. I saw you. I don't care about your watch or your table. I care that my mom called me at 3 a.m. because someone tagged her in a post of me on a stretcher. He blinked, shame and anger overlapping like two transparencies. That wasn't yours to take? Kabir's face flinched, a small break in an old habit. Luz's voice didn't rise. She's the one I remember, he said, tilting his head at Rima, her shoulder against me. Someone putting a blanket? You? I didn't need you. He exhaled. That's all. Thank you, the judge said. You may step down. As Lise left, he brushed Rima's sleeve, gratitude compact as a coin. She nodded, hand flattening her uniform over her heart for half a second, then falling. The judge faced Kabir again. Do not speak to Mr. Ramos, she said. Ever. I won't, he said. Good, the judge said. Now we talk about the part you will hate most because it's boring and doesn't come with the stage. She flipped a cream form. The court has a civic accountability program. It's not optional today. You will complete a 4-hour emergency scene awareness module within 30 days, an 8-week boundaries impulse course within 60, and 60 hours of community service unrelated to nightlife city sanitation, food bank, hospital transport assigned by the clerk. You will write one apology for the file. You already did. You will not post it. This is not content. Kabir nodded, a sober motion. You will also attend one ride, along with fire prevention, not to play dress up. The judge added, glancing at Captain Ibarra, who had stepped back in at the mention of his unit, but to watch how cones and paint and plans become seconds. Ibarra's eyes narrowed with something like approval. We can seat him on a Saturday inspection, he said. Clipboard, not a badge. Do it, the judge said. Proof of attendance to the clerk. She tapped the red binder with one finger. This stays here for 90 days. If you comply payments, letters, classes, service, silence toward Miss Shaw and her station, it stays here. If you miss one payment by more than 7 days, if you contact any of these people, if you so much as call a dispatcher to suggest something, this walks across the street with my referral attached. Kabir's voice rasped. I get it. You're starting to, the judge said. We're not done. She looked to Farah Qureshi in the gallery. Miss Qureshi, will your office provide a 1-paragraph memo on appropriate use of counsel titles for the defendant to sign? We'll make it part of his retraction packet. Farah nodded. We'll have it by end of day. Good, the judge said. Then to Amara, submit the invoice today. You'll be paid within 30 days, or I sign a wage garnishment consent. Understood. Amara said. The judge glanced at Tanya. Communications will place a note on Mr. Malhotra's number. No scene direction from members of the public is to be accepted. If he calls, operators ask if he is reporting an emergency. Anything else terminates. Tanya nodded. Already flagged? Excellent, the judge said. Now, Mr. Malhotra, your mouth has had a long day. Let your ears carry the rest. She turned to Rima. Say the line you need on this record. Rima looked at Kabir for the first time like he was a person, not a problem, and gave him no cushion. You don't get to make my job smaller so your night feels bigger, she said. If you're scared, step back. If you're angry, step back. If you're important, step back. It landed with the weight of policy. Kabir didn't try to reply. Asterisk, the bailiff approached the bench. With another slip the tiniest. An index card with handwriting. Edges soft from being handled on the walk-in. From who? The judge asked. Neighbor, the bailiff said quietly. He asked if it could be read without his name. The judge scanned it, then set it down. Mr. Ramos's neighbor wants the record to note he pulled the cones back in place after the incident, she said. He writes, I'm nobody. I just saw they were kicked. There are no nobodies in a lane like that. She slid the card into the file. We keep that. For a breath, the room held onto the smallness of that act like a yes in a world full of NOS. Then the judge gathered her sheets into one neat stack. We're close, she said. But before I read the order, Mr. Malhotra, say out loud what you owe besides money. He didn't hesitate. Silence when someone with a radio tells me to move, he said. Distance, change, no titles I don't own. Asterisk, good, the judge said. Clean sentences. The bailiff lifted a white envelope. Payment today? He asked. KABIR reached for his wallet, counted bills, and passed 420s to the clerk for the club and the filing fee, then looked at Rima. Do I pay you? You pay the clerk, she said, not unkind, not warm. Just correct. He handed over the rest. Ordinary, boring. Exactly right. The judge rested her palm on the red binder one more time. One last thing, she said. Your employer sent a policy acknowledgement device use. I am not opening it. That's between you and them. But understand what it represents. When you carry your voice into systems, those systems listen back. He nodded. You're going to want to apologize directly, the judge said. Don't. Not today. You wrote your apology to the file. Ms. Shaw can read it or not. She owes you nothing. If you want to do something meaningful, show up to the service, finish the classes, and complete the ride along without turning it into a story about yourself. I hear you, he said. Keep hearing, the judge said, because I'm about to read the order, and the red binder is still on my bench. She lifted her pen, then paused. Miss Shah, she said, you want this read into the record, or would you rather we let the paper carry it? Rima glanced at the blue ink apology on the rail. Let the paper carry it, she said. I have to get to shift. Understood, the judge said. Sit tight. This will be quick. She uncapped the pen. The click sounded like a latch she'd waited to throw all morning. Here's the order. She began and then looked up once more at Kabir, as if to test whether his attention could hold for the only performance that mattered, the one where he didn't interrupt, didn't reach for a name, didn't try a door that wasn't his. He didn't. He stood and listened. The red binder didn't move. Not yet, asterisk. The order is as follows, the judge said, and the room leaned in because this was the only kind of speech that mattered now. Short, precise and forcible. Judgment for the plaintiff. Restitution to Club 9 for corridor equipment in the amount of $41. Filing fee to Ms. Shaw, $75. Transcription cost, $30. All tendered to the clerk. Any difference on the club invoice to be paid within 30 days upon submission. Wage garnishment consent will activate if unpaid. She didn't look up to see if anyone approved. Approval wasn't a line item. Access. Defendant assigned a non-contact order effective 180 days. No calls, no emails. No DMS, no tax. No third-party complaints to Ms. Shaw's chain of command. No presence at her station. Violations trigger immediate hearing and referral. Her pen moved to the next line like a metronome. Retractions. Within 48 hours, defendant will transmit through the clerk one-sentence retractions to EMA's communications, fire dispatch, and the city council chair's office. I am not a liaison. I misrepresented my role on date. Ms. Qureshi's office will attach a memorandum on proper use of council titles. To be acknowledged and returned. Farah in the gallery gave a small nod. Already drafting. Education and service. Defendant will complete the court's civic accountability program, emergency scene awareness module within 30 days. 8-week boundaries, impulse course within 60. 60 hours of community service assigned by the clerk, unrelated to nightlife. Proof of enrollment due at the 30-day review. Proof of completion due at the 90-day review. One ride along with fire prevention on a Saturday inspection clipboard, not a badge proof to the clerk. Captain Ibarra's chin dipped once. We'll schedule him, he said. Communications, the judge continued. EMS will retain a note on the defendant's number. Operators will not accept any scene direction from him. Calls will be limited to reporting emergencies. Already flagged. Tanya's confirmed was quiet and final, monitoring. The city attorney's notice is received. The red binder remains on this bench for 90 days. If the defendant contacts Ms. Shaw or her station, calls any dispatcher to suggest movement, or fails a deadline by more than 7 days, I will sign the referral. The binder walks. Kabir didn't look away from it this time. He seemed to understand that the weight you can't feel is the one that breaks you if you ignore it. The judge set the pen down and looked at Rima. Miss Shaw, you are not required to accept any apology in writing or otherwise. If you receive contact of any kind, you inform the clerk. If you feel pressure from elsewhere, you inform the clerk. You owe no conversation to maintain your safety. Rima nodded. Understood. The judge shifted to Kabir. Say the line you will live with for the next 90 days. He didn't reach for a title. When a medic tells me to clear the lane, I clear it, he said. I don't call anyone. I don't film anyone. I step back. Good, the judge said. Clean sentences. The bailiff slid a schedule across the rail. Earliest class dates, he said. Kabir scanned, picked the soonest, and circled it without asking for a later month. These, he told the clerk. Accepted, the clerk said. You'll receive confirmations by email from the court, not your work. He nodded. I'll be there. The judge wasn't finished. There's a habit I want to break in your mouth, she said, tone quiet enough to land. You keep saying I didn't mean it. Meaning isn't what slows a stretcher. Seconds do. Combs do. People with radios do. From this point forward, your intentions are irrelevant. Your compliance is the only thing I measure. He absorbed it the way people absorb a good surgeon's bad news. Without arguing with the diagnosis, she looked to the gallery. Miss Patel, invoice submitted today. On its way, Amara said, lifting her phone. Captain, the judge added. Send the ride-along schedule to the clerk. Already drafting, Abara said. Miss Qureshi, the judge said, your memo accompanies the retraction. Brief and blunt. Happy to oblige, Farah said. The judge turned back to the two people at the center of the file. This order is about lanes, she said. You, to Kabir, stopped confusing attention for permission. You, to Rima, are not required to carry his lesson for him. Rima allowed herself a breath that sounded like a muscle unclenching. Good, she said softly. Compliance review in 30 days, the judge concluded. Bring proof of enrollment in the scene awareness module and the boundaries course. Proof of retraction letters sent through the clerk, and proof of 2 completed service shifts. 90-day review for completion and ongoing compliance. If at any point the defendant calls a dispatcher to move a unit, the hearing advances, the binder moves, and I will not be here to wave it back. Kabir's answer wasn't a speech. Yes, the judge lifted her gavel, then stopped one last check. Mr. Ramos, she said, and Louise half turned from the pew. You do not owe this courtroom anything else. But if you wish your name removed from any post, the clerk can assist with takedown requests under the city's privacy guidelines. Louise blinked, a little stunned by the unexpected grace. Thank you, he said, and to the neighbor who pulled the cones back, the judge added, tapping the index card in the file, your act sits in this record. It matters. She looked at Kabir again, and the room tightened for a final second. You're going to leave here and feel the pull, the urge to explain, to text someone, to call a desk, and test whether your voice still works. Hear me, it does. On you, not on them. Let silence do what shouting never did. He nodded. The nod wasn't dramatic. It was the kind people make when they're finally out of exits. The gavel fell once. Not loud. Enough. Court moved. The bailiff guided Kabir to the clerk for class enrollment and community service placement. He didn't detour. He didn't look at Rima. He handed over his ID, took the forms, and signed where the clerk pointed. The ritual of boring change swallowing him whole. Rima gathered her badge and her thin folder. Dylan checked his watch. We're on at 20, he murmured. I know, she said, and slid the non-contact copy into a plastic sleeve with the same care she gives to Ford tubing clean. Organized, ready. At the back, Farah emailed her memo to the clerk before she reached the door. Captain Ibarra texted an inspector. Saturday, bring a spare clipboard. Amara forwarded the invoice. Tanya flagged the number with a red dot in the system and typed the note. Do not accept scene direction. Ask for emergency only. Louise and Jade stepped into the hall, where daylight pushed through high windows like a reminder that the world had other things to do besides this. Jade wrapped her arm through his, careful of the bracelet. "Food," she said. He nodded, and they moved. Keber finished at the clerk's desk and stood for a second, the way people do when they're not sure how to walk without the soundtrack they always used. He put his phone in his pocket. He didn't lift it. He didn't scroll for a stage. He asked, "Where do I report for sanitation?" The clerk pointed. He went, asterisk. The judge signed the written order. The clerk stamped. The red binder stayed on the bench, centered like a reminder you could see from anywhere in the room. As Rima passed the rail, the judge spoke once more, not for the record. "Thank you for showing up," she said. Rima nodded. "We always do," she answered, and left to make that true. The hallway smelled faintly of cleaner and warm paper. Somewhere down the block, a siren rose and fell, that old city lullaby, and no one in this room mistook it for a personal soundtrack. It was a direction. Clear the lane. Outside, a sanitation crew rolled out bright barrels. A worker in a neon vest paused to set a tipped cone back on its base, palm flat, gentle. It took a second. It changed the shape of the sidewalk. In here, the door clicked shut. The red binder didn't move. The new habit would have to.